Bonsoir tout le monde, c'est avec un peu de plaisir nous entrer la caillou pour capable porter pour une autre interview sur ZoomHaitiNews, sur le Télépluriel et puis Radio Concorde dans et Boston. Jeudi, nous avons parlé ensemble avec un invité spécial, très spécial que nous habitués à gagner. C'est Congressman Levin, donc Andy Levin, les mêmes qui représentait le 9e district qui représente le 9e district dans Michigan et les mêmes qui c'est un gros supporter et Haïti et l'aime du gros supporter donc c'est un monde qui baille tout nommer il fait un peu de visite dans Haïti c'est un rare et parlementaire américain il parle créole il travaille en Haïti et c'est un rare étranger qui allait à Haïti qui pas déplacé pour aller chercher et augmenter profil donc pour la reconnaître là Haïti il parle dans club petit bourgeois pour la bon du vient ensemble avec eux là les côtés de masse monde qui a problème yo là les côtés la des populations et là le venir quoi le travail avec haïtiens qui gagne un problème, que ce soit monde qui gagne un problème et pour visa, monde qui gagne un problème pour faire immigration, monde qui a fait demande d'asile, ils travaillent avec eux et en général, c'est sans l'argent, ça c'est des bagailles nous pas gagner comme pour et payer pour eux comme peuple. Maintenant, dans le congrès, lycée, et puis gros supporter et Haïti, il va jamais rater aucune occasion pour les défendre cause Haïti, chaque l'elle gagnant et opportunité. Donc, je pense que c'est un monde haïtien, peuple haïtien, nous devons en pile et nous devons remercier, nous devons faire, nous connaît gagnant et deux mondes, que ce soit blanc ou noir qui est intéressé avec Haïti et qui travaille pour Haïti avec et tout caillou. Congressman Levin, c'est un plaisir pour moi aujourd'hui. Comment vous êtes?
Moi là, qui j'en ai?
Eh bien, nous là, est-ce que vous avez envie d'ajouter dans la présentation?
Oh, moi, merci en pile pour l'introduction. Ça, c'est un vrai plaisir pour aider les peuples haïtiens dans les difficultés qu'il y a. Faut nous lutter pour la démocratie, pour les droits humains. Et c'est une lutte qui est difficile qu'il y a parce que nous avons président de facto qui là et le gouvernement américain continue à faire reconnaissance à gouvernement ça, mais moi pas d'accord avec ça. Et moi essayer de travailler avec société civile, avec organisation droit monde, avec tout le monde qui voulait lever peuple là, qui voulait tendre voix peuple là pour changer la situation en Haïti.
Congressman Levin, nous avons déjà parlé avec vous sur l'autre visite à Haïti, mais qui vraiment donc pas grand en pile monde, en pile blanc qui est intéressé à l'Haïti pour visiter, voir, pour connaître, parler créole haïtien pour venir et ou même voir l'Haïti ou pas chercher comme si bien ou pas gagner bien Haïti, ou pas gagner ou pas dans le club petit bourgeois Pétionville qui arrive ou c'est monde qui descend en Haïti qui allait faire enquête, qui allait dans tout côté monde dehors. Pour qui sont gain intérêt ça pour Haïti ça.
Moi t'es allé à Haïti première fois c'était 92. Moi t'es étudiant au collège et moi t'es passé un mois aller tout partout dans Haïti pour voir le fait de USAID, de aide gouvernement américain, tant ça, Baby Doc t'es là, et moi t'es arrivé conclusion, premier effet de aide américaine, c'était Kembe Duvalier non pouvoir. Et après ça, après moi t'ai gradué collège, moi t'ai aidé travailleurs américains former syndicat. Et après quelques temps, moi t'ai allé à Boston pour aider travailleurs dans santé et travailler dans asile pour vieux grand monde. Notre travail ça, il y a un pile haïtien. Moi, t'ai apprendre à parler créole pour aider haïtiens à former syndicat
Ça,
aux
c'est bien.
États-Unis. Aux États-Unis.
OK.
Et, oui,
Vous mettez continuer.
et tant ça, Baby Doc est allé la France. C'était non, c'était 86.
82. 82.
86, il était allé.
Oui.
87, c'est première élection pour président. Et moi, j'étais allé à Haïti. La première fois, moi, j'étais allé, c'est 80.
OK.
Et après ça, 87, moi, j'étais allé deuxième fois pour servir comme observateur. Élection, ça. Élection crasée. Brutalement. Et moi,
Mhm.
ouais, yote, oh, they shot at us at a polling station, man.
Hmm.
Shot
Ça,
at us
ça,
at Carrefour.
oui, à me songer élection ça, c'est une fois c'est Leslie Maniga qui devient président là-dedans, il était seulement été 4 mois. 4 months, it's not very long. Merci.
No, the election failed, and the coup canceled. The coup regime canceled the election, and then after that, Manigabe. But and that was the time of the massacre at the Saint Argentine school. I saw that. It was just horrible.
Bien. Mais maintenant, Congressman Levin, nous te voyé donc on l'autre lettre pour secrétaire
Ouais.
d'État Anthony Blinken, c'était environ 70 membres dans le Congrès qui voyaient lettre ça pour demander Américains pour pas financer, pas bailler l'argent pour référendum non. Et qui feedback ou gain pour ça? Est-ce qu'il y aurait répond nous sur lettre là, qui réponse nous joindre?
Nous fait let's c'était 26 avril quoi. Yo pas répondre. Mais moi toujours parler avec département de l'État et moi espérer y a changé de direction. Mais juste jeudi, yo continuer avec même policy Trump te gagne.
Et
Pas remettre ça, pas quoi ça, mais c'est ça. Juste
secrétaire
jeudi.
d'État, alors presse-secrétaire, donc porte-parole département d'État, Ned Price, non conférence qui était bail semaine passée, il dit, et États-Unis pas financer élection. So they're not going to give money. Il pas bail l'argent, il pas bail l'argent pour lui, mais il pas dit, il pas d'accord avec référendum. Non, il dit c'est peuple haïtien qui doit décider pour référendum. Ou satisfait avec les réponses ça?
Non, mon cher. Yo, quittez me parler en anglais parce que je pas fait erreur. Non, pas ça. The United States has to change direction. We have to say plainly that this referendum is unconstitutional. We have to say plainly that Jovenel Moise's term ended. We have to change the policy of the United States there. It ended set février. And that already passed, not in 2019 and not in 2022. And we have to make clear that any election overseen by Moise or a KEP that he creates unilaterally without input will not be free and fair and legitimate. So let's stop pretending and let's listen to the vast majority of the Haitian people, to the bar associations, to the church, to the human rights groups, to almost everybody, except the maybe some elite people who like the way things are going. I don't know. But let's realize that we need to have a democratic transition that involves an end to impunity, an end to corruption, an end to all this violence, all this kidnapping, and stop pretending like we just need this guy to stay there and have an election until the next president is there.
Mhm.
If
Oui,
something is rotten, there's no point in keeping it in place.
oui, nous pensons que Joe Biden, c'est un monde décent, et decent man.
Hmm.
Il pas tap continuer dans la même politique et Trump te gagné. Mais qui ça qui t'a motivé Américain pour ta continuer faire même ça Trump t'a fait en Haïti donc et Biden continue sous même position hein. Qui t'a dans ça qui gagne avec Haïti pour immigration c'est même bagarre là et puis les supporter donc et pouvoir mais c'est pas il continue même direction ni dans Venezuela ni Haïti dans plusieurs autres côtés encore.
Well, Joe Biden is changing so many policies, but some foreign policy change, for some foreign policies haven't changed enough or have not changed yet. I think one thing we have to say is we have to realize there was no normal transition. Normally in the United States, after an election, as soon as the outcome is clear, the outgoing president says, okay, well, you won and I lost, so now I'm going to help you set up your government. That didn't happen. And then we had the shock of January 6th, a shock to the system of democracy in the United States like we haven't seen. I mean, it was the first time our US Capitol was overrun since the War of 1812. So the State Department, has been off to a little bit of a slow start in getting new people in place. So I'm trying to be patient, and I'm certainly a big supporter of the president. And I'm very hopeful about Tony Blinken as Secretary of State and so forth. But I think the truth is that the career staff in the State Department who deal with Haiti have been supporting this direction. And that's what we need to get policy people in place to hopefully say, well, that's not the right direction. But Emmanuel, I think this goes back to the whole history of the US and its relationship with Haiti. It's like this blind thing. Look, the US supported, obviously the US opposed the only successful slave revolution on a national level ever, going back to the late, 18th century, early 19th century. And then we supported France's absurd idea that Haiti owed reparations. That was horrifying. We supported that for forever. Then the Marines occupied Haiti for almost 2 decades. Then we supported the Duvalier dictatorship, right? Because of the Cold War. I mean, the United States needs to realize that our relations with Haiti need to be with the whole Haitian people and not a little elite, or not just using Haiti as a pawn in like a Cold War kind of situation. I mean, honestly, I think Trump supported Moise in part because they did what we wanted on Taiwan and Venezuela and so forth. That's no way to respect a neighbor, is it?
Yeah, so the problem is the people in Haiti, Moise and his government, as long as he can remain in power, he can give everything the US asked, and then Trump took advantage of that. But we did thought that Biden would be different. So we thought like Biden would like have some kind of measures, some dignity, say that we understand those people, they want to remain in power, but that's not how we play because we respect democracy. And then the threat to democracy everywhere is a threat to democracy anywhere. If you accept it in
Oui,
Haiti,
c'est ça.
you're going to accept it like in other countries, even in the US. And if it's not good for the US, it should not be for Haiti too. But I think you already commented on that. Do you have any prospective meetings with President Biden about that so we can discuss too?
I don't have I don't have meetings with President Biden scheduled, but I do. What I can say is that there is real hope here that the U.S. House of Representatives is more active on Haiti than it's been in many years, and you're going to see this continue. You will see new developments in the very near future about how active we're going to be. Secondly, I remain hopeful that we will be able to get the Biden administration to change course. I need, I need to do it in a way that is friendly but insistent. And I will simply not give up on this, and we won't accept an idea of that supporting the continuing of the Moise regime staying in power is the way to achieve democracy in Haiti. We will not accept this because it's just wrong. It won't work. And the Haitian people can't stand it. So we must change course. I think that the part of the flaw here in the thinking in the United States is an obsession with elections as always the answer. Like, of course you don't have democracy if the people aren't electing their leaders. Okay. But when you have conditions that cannot yield a successful election, you have to stop obsessing with elections and fix the conditions. Isn't that the moment we're in Haiti now? So the US position is basically, let's hang on till the next election. Well, the next election won't be legitimate because this president, organizing it isn't legitimate. The electoral council he has isn't legitimate. They're not registering everybody to vote. I mean, all these things, obviously, right? But this is what we have to get through.
Yeah, but you co-chaired the hearing about Haiti, the last hearing where the representative of State Department, Pamela White, she used to be a U.S. ambassador in Haiti. She answered the question about the election, recognized there's no way there can be free, honest election in Haiti this year. And yet they keep pushing for election. Why is that?
But also, even more, she was terrific, but even more important than her, the ranking member of our committee, in other words, the most senior Republican on the committee, Mike McCall, said that there can be no legitimate election overseen by Moise. That was really important because bipartisanship can have a lot of power in foreign policy in Washington. So we're just going to we're going to continue to build for clarity and momentum for the U.S. to change course in its policy on Haiti. Now, the woman who's been the ambassador there is being promoted, right, to be the assistant secretary for international organizations. Maybe if we get an ambassador who understands the situation in Haiti, that could help get a fresh start. So there are many things that we need to try to do to, help the State Department see we need to change course.
Yeah, but the representative of the UN, Mrs. Lalim, she's American too, and they have the same positions. And I don't
And the
invite you.
OAS.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't invite you to comment because you're not working with the UN, but it's like we don't understand in Haiti, all of those people who keep like the situation, the status quo, they are American. And it seems like American has a problem against Haiti, which you don't, you are not part of. But the Haitian government spent a lot of money in just less than 2 months, 3 months, they spent like more than 800,000 lobbying the new administration like to recognize. It's not an easy task. I know how hard you, Chairman Weeks and other congresswomen, congressmen are working, but it's a very tough fight because the Asian government are willing to spend every dime they can, as long as President Jovenel can stay even beyond February 7th, 2022.
Yeah, I don't think I'll say anything about that lobbying. I think that people who become lobbyists and are willing to lobby for any, cause, no matter how wrong, I don't think I have anything to say about that. What I can say is that I want to tip my hat to Chairman Meeks, and I think people, your listeners, should take heart that we have a new chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee who is really committed to the Haitian people, and I have his ear for sure on this. And also, I want to say that I have a list. I immediately got a list of the congressional districts, the 50 congressional districts with the most Haitian American, voters in them. And I'm talking to all of those people. And I just think that we will be able to organize for, to continue to push for a different policy in Haiti. And in our democracy, that's about what we can do. But and also, as we get past COVID, or, to the point where we can start traveling again, I certainly intend to go to Port-au-Prince and be, take colleagues with me and express my solidarity with the Haitian people in person. So there are many things we could try to do. It's extremely frustrating. And you and I sit here, I don't expect anyone who's suffering in Haiti to, through this regime, through the horrible impunity that's going on, through the all the effects it's having, to be patient. I don't think anybody should be patient. But anyway, I'm just committed to doing everything I can to change U.S. policy and to change the situation in Haiti. And I won't give up.
I know, Congressman Levin, how hard you are working, and you saw everything, even like the kidnap on the church and the other members of the Catholic Church. They just released them last week, and in less than a month, like over 100 people kidnapped, and like opponents of the government are jailed or killed, even like, so there's almost, it's like what you say, there's nothing more you can do. You do what you could, but like those people, for those who live in Haiti right now, there's no hope because there's no place you are safe in Haiti right now. You can be at your house and then you get kidnapped. You can be at your
You can be
church.
singing in church,
You can
for
pray
God's
and
sake. I mean, and be
they
kidnapped
they
in
kidnap.
live, Facebook Live.
Yeah, and they those people, they keep them less than 1 mile from the White House, like the Haitian palace. So it's like everybody knows the things. They even kidnap one employee at the Haitian palace, would like give security to the president. And it's like people are fearing for their lives now. And I know I don't invite you, say, you know, you should do more. There's nothing more you could have done. Not like it's for the first time I've seen our Congress get involved in Haiti, talking about like what things need to change. And we are very grateful for the stand you take for Haiti. But it feels like in Haiti, we have no hope right now. Like the expected time to live in Haiti is 24 hours renewable. If you live today, expect tomorrow is not going. If you live tomorrow, it will be, you are lucky every day, but there's no guarantee that you're going to live.
Well, I think we all need, every day we need to think about doing more. Every day I think, what more can I do? And I think we all need to do that. And that's the way I'm gonna, keep doing to until, we get a change. I just think that, a lot of times Americans have a really paternalistic attitude toward Haiti. And they think, oh, those poor Haitians, poorest country in the hemisphere, blah, blah, blah. And they don't understand or appreciate how the richness of Haitian culture, of music, of art, of religion, how Haitians are ready to work so hard, and that if we just create the conditions and lift up the Haitian people, that absolutely Haiti can be a thriving democracy. Absolutely, Haiti can have a thriving economy. I mean, imagine if we turned a corner and had full respect for the Haitian people, and instead and restored democracy, and then said, well, okay, how can we leapfrog the current situation? What could we be doing to help Haiti become a world leader in renewable energy? Solar, offshore wind, what are produce all of its electricity that it needs, and work together, put so many people to work, right? Working together cooperatively, instead of only talking to, a tiny elite of people, and not talking to civil society broadly, to the teachers, to the workers, to the literacy classes, to the neighborhood defense committees, to all the way that the Haitian people organize themselves to be able to get by day to day. When de Tocqueville came to America, he said the most amazing thing about American society isn't some highfalutin thing about democracy. It's all the ways, the little organizations that Americans create to advance their interest, or to, well, Haiti's got that, but why won't America talk to that Haiti, the actual Haiti of the Haitian people? And maybe it's because I went around, in the summer of 92, after they overthrew Aristide the first time. And I just went, I think, to every province and interviewed people in hiding about what had happened. And the people that were targeted by that coup regime were people who were like the leaders of a little teachers union, right? The leaders of organizations, because that's how they thought that this guy Aristide had won an election overwhelmingly, right? When there were so many candidates. Well, a lot has changed in Haiti since then, but the fundamental fact of how vibrant Haitian society is and can be, it's as if it just goes over the head of Americans, and they just go to Pétionville and talk to 5 people. I mean, we can change. We can change. We have to change this.
Thank you so much, Congressman Levin. I really appreciate you took time for a second time to talk to us, and we are very, very grateful for you, for the help you give the Haitian community, all the great work you have done. Thank you so very much on behalf of the Haitian people. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for all the great work you do. I mean, without a free press and without people getting the news out like you're doing, there's no hope for democracy in America or anywhere else. So thanks thanks a lot for your work, and I'll talk to you again soon. Take care.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.